When the upcoming F1 2020 game's driver ratings were revealed on social media ahead of next month's release, they were met with spirited discussion. Even Charles Leclerc got in on the act, describing some as not appropriate, not very well rated, specifically highlighting Williams driver George Russell's modest overall rating.
I think George was very low, and he's quick. I mean, if you put him in the right car, then he's as quick as the best, and he was extremely low.
Each driver is given a rating out of 99 for 4 attributes: experience, racecraft, awareness and pace, as well as an overall rating. These will help shape the evolving driver market and also influence how drivers perform on track and behave in battle. They will also regularly be modified. While within each save, the ratings can also evolve, so there's a particularly big potential upside to the younger drivers. Codemasters did not create these ratings as a rigorous and in-depth evaluation of the relative abilities of drivers. They were generated with a data-driven system that left no room for the necessarily subjective modifications needed to best reflect reality. So their success should be judged only by how well they drive the goings-on when playing F1 2020. But that doesn't stop us taking them seriously and scrutinising them as if they were to be applied to the real world. And it also doesn't stop you letting us know what you think in the comments below, but not before you've subscribed to our channel. Logically, the most experienced driver on the grid, Kimi Raikkonen with 312 starts, is rated 98, and the least experienced, Latifi, at 32. The rest are in between and ranked broadly in order of number of F1 starts. Between Raikkonen and Latifi, the rating figures drop as the number of starts reduces. The relationship between starts and experience rating is not directly linear, but as you'd expect, the ratio of starts to experience rating points is at its highest for the most experienced, around 3 to 1. Those at the other end of the scale are a ratio of just under 1 to 2.5, as the slope of improvement is steeper earlier on in a driver's career. Raikkonen isn't going to learn a great deal from starts 313 to 322, while Alex Albon will get a lot from his next 10. There are some inconsistencies. Carlos Sainz Jr. and Max Verstappen started their F1 careers at the same time, yet there is a 3-point difference in favour of the Red Bull driver. That can be justified as reflecting Verstappen's experience at the front, something Sainz lacks. Experience must reflect the range of their careers, not just the number of starts, so it's fair to bump up the rating of a race winner. But it's among those who have contested 3 seasons or less that things get erratic. The 3 drivers who made their debuts last year, Albon, Lando Norris and George Russell, are all rated at 52, yet Antonio Giovinazzi, who had his first full season in 2019 but also had a couple of starts for Sauber in 2017, gets a rating of 47. A real rating for him should therefore be just north of the 52 of the 2019 rookies. Leclerc has a boost to 56 for his 2 seasons, putting him ahead of Esteban Ocon with 2.5 seasons of experience. This is fair given Ocon is coming back after a year out and Leclerc's experience as a winner with Ferrari. Probably the most out-of-whack driver in this area is Pierre Gasly. He has started 47 Grand Prix, including a spell in a top team, yet has a rating of 53, just 1 higher than the 2019 rookies. Given Lance Stroll with 3 full seasons is rated 57 and the 1 season drivers just 52, to reflect the real world experience the ratings in this area should perhaps be a little more spread out. A racecraft figure would ideally apply to a driver's all-round game in attack and defence and all of the other factors that go into managing a race. However, Codemasters says that this specifically boosts a driver's capacity to unleash more overtakes. Best is Verstappen, with a rating of 94, 1 better than that of Hamilton, with Leclerc at 92. Putting Verstappen and Hamilton at the top is inarguable, much as you might quibble about the odd point in favour of one or the other. Probably the strongest quartet of drivers on RACECRAFT are all ranked in the top 5, with Sergio Perez 91 and Daniel Ricciardo 90, 4th and 5th best. Among that group, Leclerc's rating of 92 is perhaps slightly generous given he's still improving in this area. Last year in Singapore, for example, he lost 5.3 seconds to Sebastian Vettel while the 2 Ferrari drivers were clearing the yet-to-stop midfielders after their pit stops, and he still has a few rough edges to round off. The RACECRAFT rating gets muddier as you work your way down. Vettel's capacity for mishaps over the past couple of seasons means 89 is high, while it's premature for Ocon to be rated at 90. Along with Valtteri Bottas, you can make a case for them all being ranked below Carlos Sainz Jr., ranked 10th on RACECRAFT, on 88. Raikkonen's 84 is also low. He doesn't have the edge of pace he once had, and there are times when he struggles to force the issue in battle and pull off a pass, but he executes races well and should be rated higher on this aspect of his game. But with most of the field ranked from 94 down to Kevin Magnussen's 79, there are not huge differences between the drivers. Russell's 73 is harsh, but reflects the fact he hasn't been able to showcase his racecraft in a season off the back of the pack with Williams. This could be taken to mean awareness of track position relative to rivals, with Codemasters saying a higher score here will mean the driver is less likely to lose control of their car when the going gets tough. It seems fair to call this a blunderousness rating. Unsurprisingly, the drivers who, rightly or wrongly, have a reputation for mishaps struggle in this category. Haas pairing Romain Grosjean, 77, and Magnussen, 73, along with AlphaTauri's Daniel Kvyat, 74, are ranked in the lower reaches. Grosjean's occasional capacity for mishaps means he can't feel too hard done by, but it seems odd that he's rated higher than Magnussen. The Dane has no lack of scrapes, but that tends to be driven by belligerence rather than outright mistakes, and he's never had the kind of run of blunders Grosjean has occasionally been struck by. On the evidence of the past 2 seasons, it would be fair to rank Vettel, 81, in the mid-70s, as he's had so many errors and mistakes, although Albon's 78 is arguably a fair reflection of the fact he crashed a little too often last year. Oddly, Bottas comes out top on this with the highest individual rating of any driver in any category with 99. This is 4 better than Hamilton, who, clash with Albon at Interlagos last year aside, is usually unimpeachable on that score. In the matchup of the Top Guns, Verstappen loses out in this area with 84, which is harsh, but perhaps reflects the fact he still has the odd mistake in him because he occasionally doesn't play the percentages. This is the simplest of all the ratings: speed. Codemasters specifically states that the higher the pace score, the more rapid a driver will be throughout the race, but we can also take this to factor in qualifying pace. Hamilton and Verstappen are rated as fastest, level on 96. That's fair, although Vettel's 94, 1 ahead of Leclerc, is perhaps influenced more by historic success as, at best, based on last season, they should be level. Those 4 are part of an elite group of 6 drivers rated 90 or more, completed by Bottas, 91, and Ricciardo, 90, with a 4-point gap separating them from a very congested group of 13 drivers from Perez's 86 down to Giovinazzi's 79. How you judge this order depends on how much you want to factor in qualifying pace. On race speed, Perez should surely be higher, although his qualifying pace is less spectacular. Grosjean, at 83, also stands out. On his day, he's capable of being as fast as anyone, and he could justifiably be rated among the group of drivers in the 90s, while Albon's similar rating seems low, although is influenced by the sizable gap to Verstappen in the second half of last season. But perhaps the most hard done by in this group are the 3 rated on 80, Gasly, Norris and Russell. Gasly outperformed Kvyat on pace in the second half of last season, yet is rated 5 worse off than his teammates, which partly reflects his struggles against Verstappen. Gasly is capable of being seriously fast, he just struggled to work with the car when at Red Bull. Norris too showed prodigious pace last year, and his underlying speed is worth more than 80, while Russell's isolated 2020 season again means he hasn't had the chance to push his rating up to a more representative number. Poor old Giovinazzi also takes a beating here on 79. Given his underlying pace was very similar and often better to Raikkonen last year, being 4 points behind his teammate is harsh. Raikkonen's outright pace, after all, is now the weakest part of his game. The overall rating reflects the place of the 20 drivers in the grand scheme of things in F1. Hamilton is on top with a rating of 94. The gap to 90 rated Verstappen is a little big. While it reflects the fact Hamilton is one of the greatest drivers of all time with 6 world titles to his name, most believe the Red Bull driver could give him a run for his money in a straight title fight. Bottas should also have a slightly lower rating than Verstappen, given it places him on equal footing as the second best driver in the game. While Bottas is a superb performer, he doesn't quite have that edge that the Red Bull driver has, but his second place in the 2019 championship perhaps explains this rating. Vettel and Ricciardo complete the top 5, although it is astonishing to see Raikkonen coming out 6th and, at 87, 1 mark ahead of Leclerc. While Leclerc's relative inexperience means he can justifiably be rated lower than Vettel, although based on last year he should probably be ranked the same or better, Raikkonen's rating feels more 2013 than 2020. What is accurate about the ratings is that there is a relatively tight spread of numbers. Ignoring Latifi, the rest are covered by 21 points from Hamilton down to Giovinazzi. The order is not perfect by any means, but of course it's not meant to be. There are drivers lumbered with lesser cars who suffer, while the less experienced racers can feel hard done by. But by definition, they all have a bigger upside to come. With just 4 criteria to evaluate and a strictly data-driven system of calculation, the Codemasters ratings will always be limited if you take them too seriously. What really matters is that they make playing F1 2020 a better experience, which they surely will.